Hey everyone, you're listening to the Win by Two podcast powered by DIMER 2K. I'm your host, Christian Charisma. However, you're listening to this, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, we appreciate you tuning in. Man, if you haven't already, check out dimer2k.com, especially if you're just stumbling onto the 2K League this season. I know a lot of new fans picked it up without any live traditional sports to kind of turn to, but dimer2k.com is one of the longest running platforms dedicated exclusively to the NBA 2K League. I'm lucky enough to be a part of that team with Josiah, Will, and of course my running mate Fox. On this episode of the Win by Two podcast, I'm fortunate enough to be joined by none other than Newdini, power forward for Wizards District Gaming. Man, thank you for stopping by and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome. I didn't know about this until the other day. It was brought to my attention, but you're a bit of a sneakerhead. And so let's say shoe companies start sponsoring players in the league. Which company are you getting your agent to schedule a meeting with?
It's got to be Nike or Jordan. My two favorite shoes are Jordan 12s and just the Jordan 1s, the original, just Jordan 1.
Perfect. Now, you played the three spot, the small forward spot, season one, I believe. The perimeter defender build at the two spot last year. And then obviously you're playing the four in the corner in season three. What's it been like for you to go through this carousel of positions, basically?
It's at the end of the day, it's just 2K. I pride myself on being able to play multiple positions. I pride myself on learning new positions. Going into season one, I was a pure sharp. We ran two pure sharps, me and Screddy, so we'd switch off and on who was in the corner, who was on the wing. Usually I was in the corner and Screddy was up top because he had the faster jump shot. Um, and then season two, um, I was back with the Sixers, and they didn't really draft a lock, so I just told Kite, I said, just give me time to get used to it, and I'll play lock. And we ended up winning the tip-off and, went to the finals of the turn and then went to the finals of the whole thing in the playoffs. So it all worked out. And then this year I came to WizDG. They gave me a great opportunity, giving me a chance to be drafted again after I wasn't retained by the Sixers. And I kind of knew going in that I had to play power forward, or I would have to play some position, whether it was lock or power forward, because with them taking Justin or Just Awkward, I know he played lock. I played against him on PS4 multiple times, so I just knew coming in that my position was probably going to be the four. And I know Ryan or Dayfry, he's an amazing center, so I just wanted to be able to play at the caliber that he needed to have his back in certain situations playing the four.
Right. Now, like, you're clearly your resume kind of speaks for itself. You're the ultimate Swiss Army knife of the league now. Like, you've got that rep, but you make it look easy, man. I mean, like, every casual can load up 2K every year, hop in a rec, threes, pro-ams, whatever, and they can say they have these builds, they can play this position and that position. But for you yourself to be playing against the absolute best in the world while being among the best in the world yourself at multiple different positions, that's impressive. So to me, you have it figured out. So for our viewers and listeners, walk us through, you kind of hinted at it already, but walk us through the process of how you go about doing that. So for example, on day one, you've officially decided you're going to play, a certain position. What are you doing first? What are you looking for? What are you thinking about? What's kind of going through your brain there?
The first couple things that go through my brain is who can I learn from? I know a lot of people in the community, like, they like to just think they like either know it all or like they're the best and this, but I never look at myself as being one of the best. Like, obviously I'm in the league, so I'm one of the best players there is, but I look at myself as being a great role player. So if I went into this season two last year, and Kite, or Jeff, as most people know him, for the coach of the Sixers, pretty much said, like, you're going to be our lock for the season. And I said, okay. So I started watching Wolf. I started watching like all the other top locks. Like last year was got a 2K, and you just look and you see how other people play the position, because we all play the same game. We all do the same stuff. So if he's doing something that's working, why don't I try it? And the same way with this year, I started off at the four, and obviously I have Dayfry, who plays the four in the offseason. He also plays center. He's played the four before. So anything he gives me, any tips, any constructive criticism, anything that he says, I'm listening, because it's just going to help me get better, instead of thinking that I just know how to play the position, or just I've had a good season at the four, but like I'm still learning, and I think that's the scariest part, is that like going into the playoffs, I feel like it will be the best of the season for me, like playing the best at the four all season, because I'm figuring it out now. Like I know a lot of people say the four is not hard to learn, and it's really not. Like you can learn it if you put in the effort, but like at the same time, just watch other people that play the position, see who people are saying is doing the best at that position, and watch them. So after week one this season, or after week two, whenever I started playing the four, when Zay Bucks, who was going crazy at the four, doing like the shimmy fades and all this stuff, and was going like crazy on defense, was baiting everybody, getting so many, like getting steals, tips, playing the lanes. So I just kept watching film on him, and that's how I do it. Like I'm not ashamed to say that I watch other people to get better, because I don't understand, like people act like people didn't watch Michael Jordan to get better. Like Kobe Bryant didn't watch Michael Jordan, and LeBron didn't watch Kobe. Like everybody takes something from someone's game, because we're all playing the same game. So if you can get better by watching other people, I don't know why you just don't watch other people.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, reps and film. I mean, and it sounds easy, but not a lot of people do it. And clearly, there are levels to everything. And you've kind of elevated yourself to that top tier of fours in the league. Now, you have prove them wrong tatted on your arm. Can you not help but feel sometimes that some people aren't really seeing the type of value you can bring to a team? Like, do you ever feel that way sometimes in the off season?
Oh, of course. This off season, I did get prove them wrong tattooed on the inside of my arm. I wear a wristband. Um, that's from the company Deuce, and they have it prove them wrong. And I don't. It's just something that I've always like had, because like going into season one, like I wasn't a big name, I wasn't known, like people didn't think I belonged in the league. Going into season two, like I know people didn't think I was a good lock, and all that stuff. So going into season three, I just had a like statement to make, because obviously the Sixers didn't retain me, but at the end of the day, like I don't have any hatred towards anybody on the Sixers. I know they wanted to get Scurdy back, and to do that, they had to give up the two picks that were the only way to bring me back as the fifth person.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew I wasn't going to drop that far to the third round. And if I did, I probably would still be on the Sixers. But Wizards snatched me up, and when they did, I had the motivation to prove people wrong. And that's what I've been trying to do all season. So we're 11 and no, not 11-2. We're 12-2,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the best start in my career. I've been in the league for 3 seasons. We just went to the Turn Finals. I feel like we let that one slip away against the best team in the league. But I'm just ready for playoffs. Ready to get this last week over with. Hopefully, finish the season off 14-2, which would have been, I think, the second best, or like tied for the second best finish in league history, behind the undefeated team right now.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
I just have a chip on my shoulder to keep proving people wrong.
definitely. I mean, winning seems to follow you because of it as well. We've yet to really see you, in regards to league play, play the point guard and center position. Out of those two positions, given the opportunity, which one would you rather play first?
Probably point guard. Most people, if they don't watch me in the offseason, that's the position I play in the offseason. I play point guard this offseason. I believe I won, I think, 3 tournaments at point guard and made the finals on PS4 at point guard. So that's the position I played all the way up until 18, because I made, like, in my mind, going into the 18 combine to make the league, I figured everybody's going to try to play point guard, so I'm just going to go to shooting guard, and maybe that'll be an easier chance for me to get in. And obviously ended up working out. But I mean, honestly, coming into season 3, I thought I was going to be playing either point guard or shooting guard for some team. More than likely, probably shooting guard, because most teams have their point guards already. But I had a feeling that I would be going to play guard somewhere, because I had such a great offseason at guard. I played up until probably the draft, like 2 nights before the draft was like the last time I stopped playing point guard. So I really feel like I could be a good point guard in this league. I got to fix some things up, get little bit better at passing, but I can score. That's what I always pride myself on. So I feel like I could help a team at point guard if given the opportunity.
Yeah, I guess really to kind of confirm with you, like if we could expand that question, if you were picked up by a team and they said, okay, well, Newdini, here are the keys to the entire franchise, point guard then would be having played all 5 positions in this hypothetical scenario, point guard would be your position of choice then.
Yep. Like if for some reason, like obviously I want to stay with Wizards District. I would love to stay like in a spot. Like I don't like switching team to team, but if for some reason an expansion team took me and they were like, "Here's the keys," like I would love to play point guard, but like at the same time, I know I'm good at the two guard. I know I'm good at Slock, and I know I'm good at the power forwards. Like if our pick comes and best available is a point guard that I wouldn't mind playing behind or like playing next to, then like take them. Like I would just want the best opportunity to win because at the end of the day, I've said it from day one, and I'll say it up until I'm no longer in the league. Like once you make the league, you have to put your ego to the side. There's no more egos. There's no more nothing. You all come together for the same goal. So I don't understand why you have an ego. I get people come in, and usually the people that make the league were the first or second best player on their team that get through the combine. But once you get to the league, you got to put egos to the side. You got to just let everything go and just play your role how it's supposed to be played. Like, and just do the most. Be a star in your role is what I've learned, and that's what I try to pride myself on.
Yeah, man, totally agree. I mean, it's just like the actual NBA. A lot of these players that come into the league, they're the star of their AAU team. They're the star of their, high school, college team. But I mean, once you get in the league, it's really all about winning, and your resume kind of speaks for itself. Now, with how the meta is in the 2K league, it's difficult to be retained if you're not a PG or center. What changes would you like to see that maybe makes that just a little bit different moving forward?
I'm pretty sure everybody spoke on it or whether it's on the timeline or anything, but I would like to see the league get to the point where teams can just keep who they want, like, and have the faces or associated with that team. Like, if you think about like, or I almost said it, Optic Scumpy, but he's not with Optic anymore. But like Scumpy and like all the COD pros, like when like before they did this thing where they had like teams buy in and stuff like that, like when it was just like organizations like Optic, whenever you thought of Scumpy, you thought of Optic, and it's hard to do that now. Like with an example this year, I was talking to Kite before the turn semifinals, or he was talking to me before the turn or something like that. After we played them, and he told me about like a couple of weeks ago when his son was watching the games back home. I believe I think he's like 5 or 6 now. I lost track, but they were talking about me on the podcast or on the broadcast because we were playing, and they kept saying Newdini, or they said like Newdini for three or something. And he looked up and he didn't see the blue and white from the Sixers, and he said, "That's not Newdini because it's not Daddy's team." And he never knew that I wasn't still on the Sixers because I was on there for the last 2 years. I stayed at Kite's house on a bye week, like on the weekend after I came back home because he's only like 4 hours from where I live, so like I got to know his family, and it's just that type of stuff right there. Like if people like the league needs to get to a point where you can offer people like 3-year deals and stuff, so maybe they can move their family out to DC if they want to, or stay close so they can do content with 3 guys and still be around your family. Because I love the 2K league. It's a dream come true. It's um, an experience I've wanted since I was a kid to play video games for a living. But this year kind of sucks with the whole virus going around. I haven't
Yeah.
been home, so I haven't seen my fiance or my newly fiance in like five months, going on 6 months. I haven't seen my dog, my mom, my brothers, sisters, my dad. I haven't seen nobody, so it's tough. And I mean that's how season 1 was, but season 2 we got to go home. So um, I would just like to see the league get to a point where they can offer contracts for 3-4 years so that teams can stay together. Because the Wizards, they drafted a great team. We got a great team. We got 6 guys that could play. Like B Rich, he could make an impact on any team right now. He made an impact on our team. We just tried different things at practice, and we ended up going with this lineup. But I'm telling you, any teams that hear this, brand B Rich, I mean, he's a great player. Just don't think he's a 6 man because he could start on any other team. So we wish that we could keep everybody together, but we know it's going to be difficult with how the league's rules are.
Yeah. Now, as wild, I mean, you just kind of described it perfectly. But as wild as this year's been, you obviously have safely landed with Washington in season 3. You guys are 12-2, like we noted earlier. Good for second in the league. Why is this team so good?
I think we're so good because we just gel well together. There's a mixture of like different personalities. Just awkward. He's very down to earth, very calm. Like when we're playing, of course he's gonna get hyped and he's gonna be like, if someone messes up, he's gonna like tell them what they did wrong. But like he's very down to earth. One of the nicest kids I've ever met. I guess I could say kid because I'm 25. He's only 20, but he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And then you got Reese the God, who's one of the like chillest, like composed guys. Like if people start bickering, like he's the one that nips it right there, like no more. And then you got Ryan, who's just a natural born leader. He tries to make everyone around him better, and same with Jack. They're both leaders in their own ways, and then you got Brandon, who's just all around great guy, and he knows that he could step in at any moment if like I start playing to not my potential, or if something happens, if I break both my thumbs, like we know that he could step in and we wouldn't miss a beat. And I think that's just what speaks volume to our team, because we can all just gel together. Like we all hang out after every game. Usually order. It's like a ritual. We all order McDonald's usually after we win. So it's just a great culture over here.
Yeah, so I mean, you might have already kind of answered this next question then, talking about the camaraderie and the chemistry that you have there with the Wizards. But outside of the obvious things that we see on the court, is there anything fans don't know about Wizards DG and their roster and their culture that maybe reminds you of the last 2 years with Philly?
To me, it's just that like that brotherly feeling. I had it with the Sixers, and now I have it with the Wizards. Like anytime I go to practice or anything like that, it's just like it's like a family thing. It's a family culture. Each person has each other's backs. Like we're not gonna let nobody like go crazy on Twitter without saying something to back that person up. Or, if we were on stage, like if someone was like yelling at Jack, I doubt Ryan would let that fly. Like it's just something that we just have each other's backs, and I think you need that in the league, because some teams, they just go and they lose and they like tweet stuff like, I can't wait to go home, or stuff like that. And it's just like, I would never ever say anything like that. Or like it's just, it doesn't make any sense to me on how you can say stuff like that halfway through the season. Like even if you're have a losing season, you still can win the ticket. Like we've seen the Knicks do it. um, Obviously the Warriors won the ticket last year, so, and they just kind of ended up having a downfall after they won the ticket, so they ended up getting the last seed anyway. But like the Knicks season one won the ticket, and they ended up winning the whole thing. Like the season with the ticket, your season's never over. So I just don't understand how people can just give up so early.
Right. Now, just two more questions. Talk to us about you've already kind of mentioned him a couple times in the last few minutes here, but talk to us about your point guard, JBM. You played with one of the best in Philly, so you know what an elite guard looks like. JBM, despite getting Player of the Week nominations, he doesn't always get the shine that these other rookies get. Why do you think that is, and why shouldn't people sleep on him?
I think the reason that he isn't getting a lot of shine is just, I mean, you look at the core that he has around him. He has five other guys, including Brandon, that when they're on the court, they can all make plays. Like if I get a rebound, like it's not R1X. Like he trusts me to bring it up and make the right play. Same with Ryan. Same with Reese. Same with Justin. Like he has trust in his surrounding or supporting cast that I don't think a lot of other guards have. Like you watch some other teams, if they're power forward or they're lock get the ball, it's pass fake, and then they walk it back up and they give it back to their point guard to make the play. But I think in order to be a great team this year, everybody has to make plays. I mean, you look at the Raptors, all five people on the court can make a play, and that's what's so good about them. And they don't make mistakes. If they make a mistake, you have to capitalize on that mistake. If Because like if you make a mistake, they're getting a three on the other end. They're one of the best. They're the best shooting team in the league. And I think that's just why people don't give Jack enough credit, is because he's not dropping 30, 35, 40 every night, because you have you're getting 9 points from me, you're getting 10, 12 to 15 from Justin, and then when Reese is hitting all his shots, you're getting 15 to 20 from him, and you're getting 15 to 20 from Ryan. So it's a collective win. It's not just one person doing all the work. But when he does go off, everybody wants to give him his credit, because he can score. There's a reason he was taken number one. He's very calm, cool, collected. He makes a lot of good reads. He makes a lot of right passes. And now he's finally finding out or figuring out on his own on how to score and how to get open. And that's just scary going into the playoffs, because I feel like if he can compete with Kenny and these other top guards, then we have a good chance to go all the way. But everybody that's in the playoffs thinks they have a good chance. You just gotta have that composure to win these best of 3 series and then best of 5 in the finals.
Right. Final question. You've done a lot of winning over the last 3 years, and if it weren't for Toronto, having a historic year, I think everyone would be talking more about the 12-2 Wizards as being one of the best teams we've seen since the league's inception. As someone who has been through the grind of the playoffs, what do you think your team needs to focus on most as you approach postseason play?
For this team, I really think it's just composure. Ryan speaks on it all the time. Like, he's been in the league 3 seasons, and so has Reese, but neither of them have had the chance to make us like a deep playoff push or go deep in tournaments. Like the turn finals, that was everybody's first finals besides me. Um, and I have to be able to step up, like knowing that I'm playing power forward and I'm not in what we call a power position, which is usually the point guard, the lock, and the center. I have to be able to step up and be able to make the extra plays and keep everybody composed, because that's, to me, that's how you get to the finals. That's how you get where you want to be. You have to stay composed. Stuff's going to happen in games. You can have a 12-point lead that can evaporate with 3 threes. You got to be able to weather the storm. You have to be able to stay calm. Obviously, we know about the dribble glitch. It's hard to get rips. If you get ripped, or if something happens where you make the wrong read, or um, you try to go to the paint and for some reason it hits off the dude dropping from the corner's leg, and it's a turnover. Everybody just has to stay composed and stay focused on what the main goal is, and that's what we preached against the Jazz game 2. We were down 16-15 going with 3 minutes left in the fourth, and next thing you know, we're going to overtime. And that right there, that's what a lot of people don't see, and that's a story that I guess I'll say on the podcast is it was 3 minutes left. We were down 15, and Jack told everybody in the timeout, he said, "I promise you guys, if you get me 3 stops, we're going to win this game." And we ended up winning that game, and that's the side of Jack that I have not seen this season. He literally took over the game. He controlled the game. He controlled overtime, and then the next game started, and he didn't lose a step. He controlled that whole game as well. So that's the side that people don't see. Jack is such a natural-born leader, and yet it's hard sometimes, when you have 2 leaders on the team with him and Ryan, but they bounce well off of each other, and they just want to help each person get better. And like I said, I credit a lot of me being so successful at power forward this season to both Ryan and Jack, because they both helped me when I felt like I wasn't doing enough in practice or anything like that. They both showed me ways to get better, and here we are, 12-2, 2 games left, can finish the season 14-2, and then going into the postseason as one of the best teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, just based off our conversation, and between the the family-like atmosphere, the camaraderie you guys have, the things you guys do, the things you guys do together, both playing the game and when not playing the game. And I mean, it sounds like you guys have something special brewing there in Washington. But I think the most impressive part, and one of the reasons why I was excited to have you on the show, is that you seem to be the one consistent ingredient with all these teams' success. But Newdini, that wraps up our show. I wish you all the best this year, and thanks for coming on to the Win by 2 podcast. For our listeners, where can they find you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at Newdini. Instagram, I believe it's Newdini33, and then in the off season I stream at twitch.tv/Newdini.
I really appreciate it, man. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Newdini and the rest of the Wizards match up against the Blazers in a great tune-up for the postseason on August 5th. Tip-off will just be after 9 p.m. Eastern. You guys can check that out on NBA 2K League's official Twitch channel. On behalf of everyone at the DIMER team, this was the Win by 2 podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys again next time.